Alright, so this is the end of the acorn season. As you can see, there's not a lot of great looking acorns on the ground, but there's still something you can do with them. You can still pick them up and collect them for a tasty snack. Alright, so this mushroom over here is called Hen-of-the-woods, or sheep's head, or kareem. And it grows right at the base of oak trees. It kind of blends in. I already picked this one, but it is a huge monster mushroom. There's the base, and this isn't all of it. There was at least half more of this in there, so we'll show that too. Hen-of-the-woods mushroom. I always keep trying to say chicken of the woods, but it's hen-of-the-woods. Chicken of the woods actually tastes like chicken and is called sulfur shelf, so it's a little bit different of a mushroom. Here's some of the stuff that the mushroom grew around. Mushrooms just kind of go around things, and they kind of grab things. So you may have to break this up and take off 30 sections, which I tend to do. And all this stuff is good seed for any oak trees that aren't growing these mushrooms. You take this and spread it around those bases, and you can encourage them to grow. Also, note that this mushroom is a little bit dried out and dehydrated. That's going to be okay, but the preference is to have something more, more fleshy for your food. These can be frozen really well or dehydrated. I haven't had a lot of experience dehydrating this particular one, but I have dehydrated morels very successfully. These ones I prefer to freeze. Morels I tend to dehydrate because they don't freeze well. They kind of break and get all mushy. So what I got to do with this one is I'm taking the little pieces and just kind of breaking them and looking for dirt and sticks and that kind of stuff. I also give this a little soak in some salt water to get the bugs out, that kind of thing. Then give it a rinse off, and then either I cook it then or I dry it. So that's a little bit of processing that you may have to do with these kareems. Also, I must note, if you ever are going to eat wild mushrooms, you need to know what you're doing. So make sure that you go with somebody who's already ate that kind of mushroom, and you use some guides and double check things. Okay, because I don't know of any lookalikes to this one that are poisonous, but plenty of other mushrooms are fairly poisonous. This one grows under oak trees, grows in the fall, and I haven't seen any lookalikes. So here we have our trays, and there are our not so nice looking acorns. You might notice that a lot of them have holes in them, and those holes are from the acorn weevils. And oh, look at that. There he is, he's coming out. So one of the things that you can get out of the acorn is acorn weevils, and all you need is a dehydrator plate. The acorn weevils try to jump out of the acorn and burrow into the ground. They kind of look like those worms that you see people eating out of the palm hearts in the tropics, except they're a lot smaller. And so all these acorn weevils are last night's fall from those 3 trays. I'm sure if you stacked several other trays or waited a couple days in a row, you could have a larger harvest of the acorn weevils. The next step we'll do is to show how to cook them. Alright, we're going to use a high temperature burner again, but this time I'm going to try to cool it down a little bit. To cook the acorn weevils, basically you want to separate them all out onto somewhere that you can make sure that there's no dust and dirt. Some people could I'm sure some people would wash them, but what I did is I just gave them a good blow, and all those little particles that were with the weevils just blew off. And then in this pan I got some butter, and I'm melting it. When you cook the weevils, I noticed that if you do it really hot, real fast, they pop. And then you get a popped weevil, and it's just like a rind or a husk, and it's not that little tasty Cheeto of the cooked little grub in there. So First, I always like to heat up whatever I'm cooking insect in, so that the butter fairly hot, so that I could put the weevils in there right away, and then he's not going to suffer for long. He's just going to cook, and I think that's the proper way to do it anyway. So there they go. They're in the butter, and you know what? Woohoo! Mushroom, right? Although these mushrooms may not cook at the same rate as the weevils, and see, there it is again. They're kind of popping. So that moisture that's in those weevils is going to boil and pop. And it's not going to make as wholesome or as big of a cooked grub if they all pop, because then they'll just be like the skin. So I might have to dig this mushroom out of here, because these mushrooms do take a little bit longer than the weevils do to cook. So we'll cook on this for just a minute, and then I'll show you the cooked weevils. Mushroom might add a little bit of flavor to them. These mushrooms are really tangy. I recommend sauteing them in butter, and then I always add a little bit of salt, although I don't want to dump it. Just a minute. You don't need crazy, ridiculous amounts of salt. I don't know, it tastes that good then. But, you know, a pinch of salt and some butter, it always makes things taste good. And those weevils will be a good addition to like a trail mix. Or I was thinking if we got tons of them, we'd try to make a weevil Rice Krispie bar. But we'll see. They're getting close. You want them kind of lightly brown. It's hard to see through the bubbles in there. We want to like almost like a toasty color like that. I'm just going to go a few seconds more with these, and then we'll put them on that towel over there, and I'll show you the weevils and the mushroom together. It's just like a cooking show, right? You can watch cooking TV. Yeah, see, I'm putting it on, but I'm taking it off. You know, you want to control your heat. Let's take this mushroom out. It's not even hot on the top. Cooked. We've got our weevils cooked. There's a nice little post-acorn feast. I'd like to get more trays of those weevils so I can get a little bit bigger pile than that. But these mushrooms are really delicious, and so are the weevils. And then that bell rang right in the middle of the thing, right? But so anyway, there's our post-acorn harvest snack. There's plenty of weevils. There's plenty of mushrooms. I wish I had a bigger pile of weevils than this, but I just need to fill up more trays. And there's still plenty to eat from your oak trees in the fall. Thanks.